Welcome to another episode of Artist Check-In. I'm Elliot Forrest, and if you listen to the Met Opera radio broadcasts each week on WQXR, you'll be no stranger to the incredibly high standard of performance. Have you ever wondered how that signature world-class opera chorus sound is made? Well, take a step with us backstage at the Metropolitan Opera to meet one of the institution's most consistent and conscientious figures behind the music, the opera's chorus master, Maestro Donald Palumbo. Nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. Thank you for the kind introduction.
You're quite welcome. You've been in this position for 17 years. You're taking a well-earned retirement. Are there mixed feelings, or are you raring to go?
It's not really retirement. I'm just going to cut back in the amount of projects that I do, and will not be here day to day, 24/7. It seems like, and so it's time, and I'm looking forward to a bit of a rest.
A lot of us think about the orchestra as this existing organization, and then guest soloists come in. Describe the actual the construction of how that works. Is that there's a consistent existing chorus that you've been looking after?
We're, of all the building groups, maybe apart from the stage crew, we're in the building more than almost anyone else. We will be rehearsing during the day, oftentimes 2 sessions, and then we'll be performing at night. Orchestra doesn't have staging rehearsals, let's say, when a production gets put together. Soloists don't sing every day. They will maybe usually have 1 or 2 days off between performances. So the chorus in this building is pretty much here nonstop. It's a very demanding job. You need to be very secure technically with your voice, because we do so much singing in the course of a week. If we told soloists how many hours we sing in a week, they would just shake their heads, because no one really should be forced to sing as much as we are. But it's what we do, and we develop a way to manage the amount of singing time.
And the chorus master, tell us what your job entails.
So there's a lot of diction work involved. There's drilling work in List Hall, and in preparation to go down to the first staging rehearsal. Sometimes we have a lot of time for an opera, if it's a new opera for the Met, or it's a new production and we're trying to polish up an opera we've done many times. We'll have many music rehearsals. If we're doing an opera like Turandot that comes back into the repertoire every other year, which has a lot of choral music, unfortunately we don't have a lot of time to spend bringing all the new people up to speed. So it's a bit of a jigsaw puzzle to figure out how to plan every season, but my main job is to get the chorus ready to start staging for every opera as it comes into the repertoire. Of course, I also am responsible for engaging choristers. So we have auditions every season. We have a large extra chorus pool we draw upon when we're doing larger operas. Aida, Turandot, Meistersinger all have more than our regular chorus number. So every year we are looking for extra choristers to fill out the roster in these large shows.
Many critics have pointed to the evolution of this chorus over your tenure and how it's improved. How do you view the 17 years and the effect you've had on the chorus?
When I first came here, it was made clear to me my job was to elevate the level of the chorus up to the level of the orchestra that Maestro Levine had developed over his many years as music director. When he first came to the Met, it seemed like he lived in this theater. He conducted so many performances, oftentimes doing 5 or 6 performances in 1 week even. And so his work in developing the orchestra into a world-class, not only opera orchestra, but symphonic orchestra was just amazing. And it was, when I arrived, it was clear that we had to take the chorus and elevate it to that same level. So I think right from day one, I viewed my job as a long-term process of slowly, without really changing personnel, maybe just different rehearsal techniques, different concepts of sound, just to take the chorus on an upward trajectory, not only vocally but musically. The quality of sound has just solidified so beautifully over the last 5 years. Let's say since we came back from pandemic, quite frankly, I found it very interesting that when we first came back after this break, there was this new I don't know, maybe people were rested for not having sung for so long. Also, I'm sure they were just so chomping at the bit to get back to singing that when we came back, I think our first thing was a Mahler second, an outdoor performance, and then we did some Verdi Requiems here in the hall. And right from the return after the pandemic, there was this little bump in the overall quality of the singing, and it's only progressed from there since coming back from the pandemic. Even comparing the Verdi Requiems we did this year with the ones we did right after we came back. This year's performances were, I mean, a huge step up. As great as the first ones were, these were quite amazing. And I just think we now feel comfortable as an ensemble. Um, we certainly go on stage and don't and know that the ensemble is going to just happen. We somehow have this sense we breathe together. We know where our colleagues are going to make the attack, and so this has just evolved over 17 years. And I couldn't be more proud to turn over this group of singers to my successor. I really am so pleased with the work we've done for these past 17 years.
How many singers are we talking about that are in the chorus on a regular basis?
The full regular chorus, tenured regular chorus, is 74 singers.
Wow.
So it's a large group to begin with, and when we do something like, well, Meistersinger is our biggest show, and that number is, I believe, 149. And I'm sure when it was new, it should have been 150. I have no idea how they got to 149, but somehow that's been the number that I've used since I arrived. I have to say that we are unique, I think, in the world of opera right now, in that we've maintained a large choral force when the opera requires it. A lot of the companies around the world now have been reducing their chorus sizes, and financial reasons, of course, but just general shrinking down of the scale of opera. But one thing that Peter Gelb has been so supportive in is that we've maintained basically the numbers that we had when these productions were new. A lot of them were planned with Maestro Levine, so he had this uncanny sense of what the correct number of choristers was for each opera production. So we have really maintained the standard here of chorally, we do the pieces properly, which is a great thing to be able to say, because if you can't do it at the Met, where is it going to happen?
Has there been a different approach for you as the Met has focused on contemporary works, doing Shut Up in My Bones or The Hours? I mean, I'm guessing there's a dozen or more languages that these people are required to do. How does that change?
As long as you have this basis that the voice has to be grounded and the tone has to be rich, round, a natural vibrato that keeps spin in the tone. I feel you can adapt that to any kind of music. When I first did, say, Porgy with the group, what we all commented on was, yes, these people knew Porgy well and had sung it many times before, but we somehow created this more operatic direction to the sound of the chorus while maintaining the qualities, the idiom of the music. And I think you can get this richness of tone in all of the contemporary music that we've sung. In the hours, it works really well because the orchestration is so lush, and we're trying to produce sounds that blend into this beautiful orchestral quality. So I don't think any of our work with tone quality has not been applicable to all of the repertoire that we do.
You are not completely retiring from the work. You're going to continue a little bit. You're cutting back, separate from the singing and the Met. that you'll have more time now? What is it? Fishing,
Oh
reading,
no, no, no,
traveling?
no,
What are
no,
you
no,
going to do?
I've never been one of those people. I certainly reading. I'm going to listen to a lot of music that I've just not had the time to listen to over these years. I find it strange that I know so little about chamber music, and even a lot of the great piano works, Beethoven sonatas. That's my project to get through all of those. I was telling one of the orchestra members that I had never heard the Beethoven Kreutzer violin sonata in my entire life for some reason. It's almost embarrassing to say it in public. And one night I was sitting in my office. I don't know what I was doing, but I decided, oh, I need a break from this. And so you go through the YouTube and you pull something up and say, I'll listen to a little bit of this. And, 45 minutes later, you're like blown away saying, my God, how did I miss this my entire life? So I know there are more pieces like that out there that I've got to find the time for.
I can't help but ask you too, as WQXR broadcasts the Metropolitan Opera Saturday broadcasts for I think maybe 80
Yeah,
years.
sure.
Your work is heard on that, but when did you first start to listen to those broadcasts, and what kind of an impact did it have on you?
When I was, oh boy, high school, beginning of high school, I would have Saturday morning, extracurricular activities that I had to do for school and things like that. But I had to be home. I'm pretty sure the broadcasts were at 2 o'clock, way back in my day when I was listening to them. I had to be home on Saturday at 2 o'clock to listen to the broadcasts. And I would usually, I was in an all city high school group or something on Saturday mornings in Rochester, New York. I would stop by the public library. I would try to get a score or a libretto or something of the opera for that broadcast. Make sure I got on the bus to get home in time to listen to the broadcast. And it was week in, week out as I was growing up. So today, with all this media access that we have right now, people forget how essential that Saturday broadcast component was to all of us. And when I think back on that, and thinking about my career and thinking where I am now, and I come here every day, how important that once a week radio contact with the Met was as I was growing up. It's just an amazing continuum of connection that the Met has had with young people across the country. Many of my colleagues say the same thing about those old Saturday afternoon broadcasts, that they were the most important few hours of the week for a lot of us.
Donald Palumbo, I want to thank you for your decades of work with the Met, and I want to thank you for your time today.
Oh,
Thank you for
great
doing
pleasure.
this.
Thank you so much.